all my eyes are peeled here. Is Jinx the first thing that's gonna go through B1 again? It's the only thing so far. We've had 2 games, 3 games, B1 Jinx. It doesn't matter what the support is. Jinx is free low right now. It seems like no team has been able to shut it down. Again, I want to see very strong top lane that will shut down the Jinx by snowballing one side. Again, we talked about the fact that because teleports are used more selfishly, if you want, by the top laners right now, you can also choose to run a combat summoner alongside it to the point where you can just put all of your pressure and all of your attention towards the top side of the map, potentially get something like an Ezreal towards the bot side of the map, and just try to snowball that top side.
I wonder who NYYRIKKI is pinning out here in the first draft phase of Astralis. It's very much looking like last bit of NLC when Chrisberg is just already absorbing a lot of resources here. Not only just in
so
champ
far.
select, but like we were talking to him, he was like, I'm so used to people camping me, like I just want them to camp me so the rest of the map can pop off. And so far in champ select, like he's definitely a threat coming through. So Jinx cannot be first picked on blue side. It's just completely removed.
Now when I'm thinking of Chrisberg, I'm thinking of Felios, I'm thinking Kai'Sa. I think his Kai'Sa was spectacular. Now, I don't necessarily think that you'd want to play Kai'Sa blind here. You probably want to see more of the composition, but Leona is locked in straight in. And we talked about this. Wendell likes to go hard in laning phase, and Chrisberg likes to go hard in laning phase. They love to win both of them now. They're playing together. I think it's a match made in heaven, and I think they're going to go really hard, and especially having an immobile ADC such as the likes of Jhin. Oh, he's bringing down the microphone. Oh, no.
What up?
He's back. But this is one of the games where Thresh is open. Finally, we get the Thresh, and you need some help to peel for Jhin. Obviously, you can bring the Lee Sin as well to keep some peel, because you have Leona and Viego. They can go amok on Jhin.
Yeah, definitely. While Thresh is a good pick into this one, it also lets you roam around the map here, where it's a squishy AD that needs to survive a laning phase with not a lot of mobility. So it's not a bad shout. We already know that he's very fond of engage supports too, just from what we've seen in the past of his match history. But also going back to this Jhin first pick, it's very telling that when you get an AD carry like Jhin, that you're more facilitating to the rest of your team. You want to play for some of the rest of the map. So if we're going back to talking about the top side or the solo laners here, I'm expecting some more power to come out here, not some tank, something you can play for.
I would like to see priority lanes for Lee Sin. I'd like to see a lane where Lee Sin can play through, whether that's mid lane, whether that's top lane. It's going to be quite hard, of course, because you're on blue side, where technically you have to blind pick them. But I'd like to see even something like a Zoe. I think it's very powerful. A Zoe together with a Jhin, creating that space for you, hitting you from legitimately miles away. I think you can start playing them on that distance and sort of win by being too far away to be reached.
So we go to the second phase of the ban. Syndra is going to be removed. Jace as well, as we're looking to the top lane, protecting the top lane out of NYYRIKKI. On the other side, though, they're trying to take away some control of the mid lane. What do you reckon we could see on the second phase?
This is very interesting, right? Because all of a sudden, mid laners are being banned away, which kind of tells the story that we're fourth picking. We're taking away some of the biggest counters we know to a champion we have in our head that we want to pick right now. But not only that, that is setting up a different storyline for Astralis here, that they're giving a lot of trust to their rookie right now. Carlson, we mentioned it. He's only 16 years old. He's the guy with the least experience on that roster. If he gets the last pick, that also means you want to play for the top side. You already got the 6. Chrisberg looks to be the weak side, and it could potentially be a top side focused Astralis, which to me could be very exciting this game.
I actually cannot believe we gained Chrisberg on 6.
That is really insane.
That is insane. Okay, so for me, this looks like a Leona that's going to be roaming the map with the Viego together, and they're going to be going towards the top side of the map, trying to shut down the top lane. Again, we said how important it is if you manage to snowball one lane.
Ooh, I love this.
The blind Riven, okay.
That is confidence. And there's still like Fiora's up if Carson wants to pick that. There's so many champions right now you can start going for. And the cool thing is that both teams right now has decided that they want to play topside. Jhin facilitating, we mentioned it earlier. LeBlanc, priority, you mentioned it as well here. There's so many things that can make this game really exciting. And Carlson, once again, the young guy, is going to bring in a champion to deal with this. It's going to be the R5 Renekton, a community classic. Very exciting champ select between these two teams.
I love this. I love this because of the fact that a full rage W can break shields, and Riven does rely a lot on the all-in, on her shield to take the trade quickly and get out, absorb the damage with the shield, get out. So she's really good on the quick trades, but so is Renekton. And if you save your raids for that W to break the shield, I think you can trade evenly into the Riven. Of course, we're going to have to wait and see how this matchup goes, because there's a lot of roaming potential. I see Package Corki going towards the top side. I don't see Leona sticking too much in lane, because Ziggs is like really easy to just wave clear underneath his tower and try to evade gank, especially since you have flash available. But the Lee Sin versus Viego versus the top side of the map, it's going to be spicy.
Everyone just needs to tune in now. I'm just like, tell your mom, tell your
Drop your
granddad, tell
mixtape.
anyone, tell your friends. Just go on. This game is going to be a banger. I'm excited for it.
It's the Crazy Crocodile on the final pick, and it's the first one for NYYRIKKI and Astralis. Okay, I'm getting the cup. I'm getting excited. I'm getting to the game. Casters, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Let's get ready. We've got some pretty spicy picks here, Jamada. What are you making of everything in this Astralis versus NYYRIKKI game?
Yeah, I mean, I think the top side is obviously the main focus, right? This crazy draw. Got Patoshka on the Riven with the Renekton matchup. It's traditionally not been a very Riven favored matchup, and then you just immediately add in the Lee Sin plus the Viego into the mix, and all of a sudden you have this crazy top side which could just be incredibly pop off just because of how volatile the matchup is. And on top of that, for Astralis, because they've got that Ziggs in the bottom side, Leona being freed up potentially to move around the map, move with Taxa. It could be a pretty big deal as we get big zoom in onto the Ducky, and we are here for game 3 of the day.
We should name the duck, and we can't call him Donald because copyrights.
Yeah,
I'm putting in a solid Michael. That's what I'm going with.
Michael.
I'll let you think on it. Let me know on Instagram or on Twitter. Let me know on Twitter.
Yeah.
You think the duck? What you think the duck should be called?
Because a lot of the jungle camps have names, right? Like a lot of the
Does the blue buff have a name other than blue buff?
I think so.
Oh no.
We'll
figure these out. We'll figure these out. Anyway, LeBlanc. I'm very happy to see a LeBlanc.
Yes. Of course you are.
Had a GP, had a LeBlanc. I'm both boxes are ticked for me right now.
You're well.
He's into the first strike Corki though, which is a new rune. So I think it's probably best to talk about this first strike. So we said we would talk about new things when they came up.
Yeah, of course, first strike, a little bit of bonus true damage, plus you get some gold from it. Definitely pretty good on things like Assassins, where you all in somebody, you get extra gold for it. On champs like Corki, or sometimes I've seen it on Victor, it's just an easy or cheap way to farm a little bit of additional gold. So just get to your core items a little bit quicker. It does help with some of the trades here, the shorter trades, in some like LeBlanc. But LeBlanc definitely still, in the early laning phase, does win this one out. Just too much burst damage, and of course, if Lee Sin shows up, Lee Sin, LeBlanc, very tried and tested combination. Very, very hard to out 2v2 this combo. And considering actually somebody who, when I was doing some research into champions like Lee Sin, very much his wheelhouse. He loves being super early to lanes and just, aggress onto them as quickly as he can and just kind of skew things in his favor and play around those strong lanes. And like we said, he's got this LeBlanc here, the Riven. Definitely, I've always felt struggles into the Renekton 1-to-1, as many melee champions do. But if you can get into these two solo lanes, he's got plenty of setup to try and snowball them out of control.
Ooh, unlucky with the chains there, but still got that burst in the electrocute. Keep our eyes on the junglers, because they're both actually clearing upwards in the same direction, so we might see a bit of a scuffle between the pair of them, or they may just both look to try and go into the top side. Riven obviously got a pretty solid shove, so probably not going to see too much more or a potential dive, but Taxa is going to get invaded here. Kick's going to land, Smite's going to go down, and stealing away a couple of camps is got the Riven also charging up the Q, has unfortunately put the Broken Wings onto cooldown. And Taxa's just trying to pick up the occasional little bit of rock, a pebble.
Gets himself a couple of chickens, couple of rocks. Still loses out on the main bulk of the camp though, so
yes,
definitely not the best for him. Cedar will pick up this top side skull as well. Definitely winning out towards this top side, influencing it a little bit. Because he got that early prior, it just makes that invade possible. Attacks up. Should imagine gets the bottom side skull. These first skulls, however, unfortunately just not worth as much as they used to be. So
No, fortunately. I know you're a
jungler.
jungler, mate, but no, fortunately they're not as...
Right.
We don't have to get called over to help you fight for a crab anymore.
Okay. I see how it is, Jake. As a okay.
Yeah.
Thresh is in the top side. This is a very,
Might
very
look for
early
a
run.
hook.
Not sure
Carlson,
what he's looking for. He's been
don't
spotted
think
on
I've
vision.
seen him. Oh, he's been spotted now.
Yeah, he's been spotted.
No,
No, he got spotted now. Yeah. Got pinged as well. So we'll just be going back to base. Like the attempt though, shows that NYYRIKKI very much ready to try and make things go their way in this top side. You don't pick something like Riven competitively without intent to try and make it work very heavily.
Absolutely. We should probably talk a little bit about, you know, these teams, because they are obviously new to us here at the NLC. Astralis, obviously, you probably know that name if you watch competitive League of Legends. And obviously, if you've been watching any of the desk, Goldborg's been going very, very ham onto this full Danish roster. And, you know, some pretty superstar players here. Taxa has been around the NLC for a very long time, or any of the regions at least similar to it. But were once individual regions, so pretty storied player in the area. But NYYRIKKI, they were in the Telia leagues, I believe, last season, right?
Yes, yeah, that's right. Finland League champions coming there. Finished second in regular split, but took home the trophy. Second in Telia Masters, if I recall correctly as well.
Yeah.
Managed to make the run all the way through with almost the exact same roster. Through the qualifier. So definitely a team that, you know, if you were following the Telia League beforehand, you would have known about, most definitely. Always compared in the Telia Masters, always, you know, sort of that fringe team where it's like, okay, they could have made it to the NLC, you know, during any of the previous Telias over the last few years. But finally, once that spring qualifier rolled around, they were able to make their entrance. And of course, like you said, everyone knows Astralis by name. I might have to hold the point as Chris more dash away from that death sentence. Won't be the sufferer of a 3-man gank. But yeah, obviously Astralis Talent, new to the league, taking over Tricked esports spot. Dane for Dane, feel like Goldborg, very happy about that. And very experienced roster outside of Carlson, who several years younger than everybody else on the roster, 16 years old, and stayed on from the previous iteration of the Astralis Talent lineup. So Astralis, obviously, massive trade, obviously value this player quite highly. So I'm excited to track how he does over the course of the split, really, because with such an experienced roster, you would have thought maybe they would go for the exact same thing, the top side. However,
I mean, you were just talking about him, and this is. I mean, this is also, you got to keep in mind, this is a Riven lane. So, you know, when you play in competitive, typically champions like Riven, who don't get that much kind of airtime, let's say, it can be quite hard to play into them because you kind of just forget what laning phase is like against a champion like Riven. And Riven is oppressive as a champion to play into in lane. She can be really, really powerful, really potent. And Carlson just says, yeah, and I'm a crocodile.
Big crocodile beats small woman with half-broken sword. What does Renekton have again? Huh? I mean, she does, yeah.
It's like a glaive.
Renekton? Yeah, that's it. I'm pretty sure Euro here should have enough.
I think it's like a fantasy glaive, because... Yeah, oh, sorry, we're talking about that.
I was
still talking about the game,
you're still talking about the glaive. It's alright. Era, though, no teleport, has the ignite, so he's gonna have to find some mana from somewhere. Has some biscuits in his inventory, though, so should be fine.
Oh.
And Toshka will make the leap over the wall. And Astralis maybe eyeing up this Rift Herald. They will start out. They've got priority in the top side. I believe Krez is coming out of base with the package. So this should be a pretty free pickup here for the Danish side.
Just have a recall mid as well, so no contest is going to go through.
No. None at all. First objective of the game will go to Astralis. We'll see how they want to use it. You would imagine probably Krez in this instance, though maybe accelerating the Renekton lane could definitely be an avenue to leverage. Try and put the Riven as far behind as possible, because of course Riven definitely a champion where if she does fall behind, her level of usefulness can quite quickly drop off as package.
Oh, lovely
Not quite
dodge
the
there.
right way. Yeah.
There's definitely an element of mastery coming in on this Riven here. You know, you got the broken wings, able to kind of hold them until the perfect moment to dodge or go in as a... So I needs to be a little careful. It's going to jump into Crest, gets the kickback, doesn't get the knock-up, but there's the flay. There's 3 members, though. They've been caught out. Maybe they can find a turnaround now that LeBlanc's here, but I think that is going to be it for now. As chains go wide, Taxa should just be able to walk away from this one. Although, really playing with fire.
Yeah, NYYRIKKI, I just don't think they were expecting numbers around the mid lane there. I don't think it's necessarily even an audacious play. I think NYYRIKKI just thought they had first move on this rotation and could find themselves a kill. Unfortunately, the Sitter has to blow his flash. And see if that comes back to bite him later on. But Astralis, very controlled, very slow game. Actually behind around 500 gold, but they do have the Herald to pick some of that up. And I think when you consider the scaling in this game, you're not too fussed about being 500 gold down, especially when the majority of that, you would imagine, probably comes from this bot side CS discrepancy. First strike probably makes up for what Crest is behind on.
Yeah, it's probably a bit of a spread between mid and bot. So that 500 gold is like spread very thin to the side of NYYRIKKI. So it's not really anything to kind of write home about. Maybe they're going to be able to turn their attention towards this dragon. The wards are down, the hops are over, and the side of NYYRIKKI are going to look to start up this dragon. Don't think Astralis are really going to bother contesting this one. It is just going to be that cloud dragon. Maybe we're going to see something a little different. There's the Chemtech.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now it's back to 1 and 4 and 50-50. Who knows? Maybe maybe next week. Or
we still got 2 games, mate. And we still have a chance this game to get Hextech gold. Don't worry. I know you want it. We all want it.
I do. We want some new dragons. We want the shenanigans. We want the Chem Fog. We want the Hextech portals. I just want to see.
Actually, I'm going to ask you about this.
Yeah.
Do you think any of the souls like are broken? Obviously, because Infernal was always like a really rough one to play into. Do you think like
personally, I feel like having innate GA which revives you at full HP and you can still cast all of your abilities is kind of broken.
Yeah, yeah. Well, obviously, giving everyone Scion passive is horrible.
Okay, we'll have this conversation in a second.
Yeah, she's in a lot of danger. Able to lantern away. They follow it up with a hook and a slow, and it looks like Astralis aren't going to be able to find a kill.
Astralis,
but this guy able to escape.
Yeah, ward off that, and now even looking maybe for slightly deeper play. Herald drop, like we said earlier, Corki or Riven, or the Riven lane with the Renekton in it, probably the likely recipients.
Nice lantern there. Actually, it was a hop over the wall, didn't take the lantern, but the charge is going to come down, and that's going to be a lot of tower damage thrown out. As they're able to get a nice trail onto Carson in there from the LeBlanc, chunking him out pretty effectively, but NYYRIKKI are starting to bleed a little bit. That gold lead you were talking about has been somewhat alleviated, but they're coming in. They bought the Jhin, and Astralis is able to move away.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think still fine for Astralis. Do lose the flash of Wendelbo there, but not the end of the world, because Crispberg has been down here by himself, getting a couple of plates, and of course that tower is effectively only 2 plates away from dying, just because of the Zig Satchel. So all around, I'll definitely call that a win for Astralis. They get the Herald off top. Crispberg solo farms on the bottom side, and NYYRIKKI don't really get too much in response, unfortunately. I think they're fishing now, but
maybe looking for
not really too much to find
him because of his. Yeah, it's definitely a slower paced start here.
Yeah, compared to the first
little chains off, but that's gonna be it.
I think though, if you're Astralis, you don't mind this, to be honest. I think if you're looking for NYYRIKKI to win this game, however, you want to see them try and pull the trigger somewhere. But Astralis, quite frankly, just haven't been giving them the opportunity to do so. I think some of that definitely, it can come down to the level of the players on the Astralis side, but I also think the experience. Coming to this game, you see the draft, you're like, okay, LeBlanc Lee Sin, Jhin on the bottom side, Riven on the top side. We've got basically, a full draft that negates all of these sort of very scary early game champions. All we have to do is sit here and kind of let our champions do the job. And so far, in the opening 14 minutes, they have definitely been doing that. And so far, NYYRIKKI, I won't say they haven't been looking, but it just feels like Astralis have done such a good job at neutralizing any opportunity that NYYRIKKI could potentially have looking for plays like this. As jungler's going to butt heads here. Actually, a full gap.
Oh, nice little insect into the flash play. Taxa has to throw out the ultimate to try and escape, but they jump in. First blood finally picked up in the mid lane, and Gress maybe in a little bit of danger.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like without the kick there, without the box there, Cress should be okay. But you can see where the Cedar is mentally, just sitting in the chicken camp, waiting, thinking, all right, can we carry on even underneath this mid-tier 1? The answer is no. They still find themselves first blood onto Taxa, who unfortunately just walks into his chicken camp unawares that it was being taken by the Lee Sin, and pays for it with an insect to his face.
Well, we did also see Chris Berg take a tower on the top side. It was only a 1 plate, and that's pretty easy when you've got a satchel charge and you can just pop the tower. Then now a rotation into the mid lane from Chris Berg here on the Ziggs. That tower's pretty healthy though, so should be able to hold it for the moment.
Yeah, should be pretty okay for now, and it's definitely what you want as a strategy. You want Ziggs in the mid lane ASAP. As finding the engage in mid lane.
They got the package. Hook's going to connect, but not going to be following that one as Crest jumps away to safety. Taxa will eat the chains and a sigil just for a little bit of bonus burst. Taxa only going to lose about a quarter of his health.
Only about a quarter. Aftershock saving Abigail's life there. Soaked up a lot of burst damage. Zigzol, a lot of the burst from the Corki. And the owner is damage as well. Isn't something to sleep on in the early stages. Able to keep himself alive. If you're going for the Glacial Augment, something that we've also seen be pretty popular, at least in solo queue on the Thresh. And I feel like that definitely would have been a dead support and a free pickup for Astralis. But this kind of lane assignment. Ziggs in the mid lane, Corki on the bottom side instead of Blanc. Even if you lose this dragon here, you know, you're pretty comfortable sitting here and waiting to scale for like, you know, another item or so. Or maybe Astralis don't care and they still want to try and find some kind of fight. Prodding into the river anyway. Now Wendelbo potentially in trouble.
Yeah, looking to jump in. Broken Wings didn't quite connect onto the knock-up. And I hate to break it to you, but it's an Ocean Soul again.
It's an Ocean, yeah. It's a sad, sad day in the NLC so far. We've got two more chances, right? For a new Dragon Soul. Just bored of Ocean, man. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
We had a mountain.
You know.
We didn't even have the new cloud.
Whoa. Yeah, we haven't even had the new cloud. Very interesting kick there from Cedar. Didn't want to get CC'd up by Carlson and maybe drop. But either way, this Herald will be going over to Astralis. So it's Astralis with the Herald control, NYYRIKKI with the Dragon control. And Herald definitely found a little more use than these dragons so far, though of course if NYYRIKKI can stay strong, can stay relevant with their champions and Iron Spikes around these neutrals, it'll be very, very hard for Astralis come this third dragon to do anything about it. But when you look at the inventories, they're almost there.
Hold on.
Looking for Krez. Won't quite spot him out.
Hit the bush at the right time, although not going to be able to go, wanting to go for that one. They may just look to try and bonk away at this tower a little bit. Got LeBlanc already working at it. Sidra able to take this down with his team. See if there's going to be a response play, because it looks like there's a teleport being used into the mid lane from the side of Astralis. So they are contesting on the other side. They've got the Herald as well. They've got the Ziggs. It's actually awful to try and to push into this, because down goes the tower. They got a wave to shove up as well. I don't think they're going to get the next charge out, although maybe... No, they got it.
Yeah, charge comes through, so pretty high value for Astralis, because now that tower is pretty close to just being saturated by Chrisberg. So big win there for the Danish side. And low in kills, yes, but this game methodically being played out by Astralis. NYYRIKKI, again, it just feels like, you know, you've got all of these early aggression tools. You've got the Lee Sin, you've got the LeBlanc. Obviously, the Riven kind of nullified in this Renekton R5 lane. But even the bottom side, right? Jhin, Thresh, but it just feels like, again, they haven't quite been able to find, you know, a play that truly sticks and gives them tangible rewards.
That's going to be the tower going down. Chrisberg just kind of roaming demolitionist right now for the side of Astralis, and gold lead pretty close between them and NYYRIKKI right now. NYYRIKKI also got those first two dragons under their belt, so Ocean Soul is a potential for them. Will help versus the poke later on in the game when you're thinking about the siege from Ziggs and the Corki. A lot of things to dodge, a lot of poke will be eaten. If you can get that Ocean Soul, it will give you some survivability in those sieges.
And it will. And of course, closer to the traditional build that we are very familiar with when it comes to Corki. So, see, I mean, Cress, somebody that's very comfortable on the champion. So I don't even have to say something, you know, very normal, like, we'll see how he does on the champion. We know Cress is a bit of a monster on the Corki.
Yeah.
And Astralis, again, just playing to their conditions. They just play slow. Don't have to check into this very, very scary early composition of NYYRIKKI. And again, plays into the experience of this roster.
We're approaching that 20-minute mark. We've got 1 minute 20 until the first of the Ocean Dragons come up. Potentially the third dragon for NYYRIKKI, but I think this might be the moment where Astralis decide to pull the trigger and try and contest these dragons, because, like I said, you don't really want to be sieging into an Ocean Souled up NYYRIKKI. They still have, you know, some element of range. I think the problem NYYRIKKI are going to have later on in the game is wave clear, because LeBlanc has to jump into the wave to be able to clear it. And you got Jin, sure, but Jin is very limited by the amount of shots he has, and then obviously his spells aren't the best. Obviously, you do have the grenade, but that only dances to 4 minions. So there's lots of like little things. They don't have the most amazing wave clear right now. So Astralis, if they can, you know, just hold this out a little bit longer, they should be able to do. If they can deny this Ocean Soul, sieging's actually going to be a bit of a breeze for Astralis later.
Yeah, and I think also like the team fighting, right? Especially when you have things like package online, which, you know, Chris does have right now. You've got decent enough peel and front line between Renekton and Leona, and you've got all of this massive burst damage from Corki. And of course, the Ziggs and Viego will always be happy to clean house off the back of that damage. Team fighting 5v5 straight up for NYYRIKKI just gets harder and harder as time goes on. So they really desperately even just need to get this Dragon Snowball. They need to lock in this third dragon, put pressure on Astralis to make them think. But right now, even with the package even, I just feel like Astralis are probably just stronger. So NYYRIKKI, they're going to have to play this one out really well. They're going to have to try steal it. Sonic Wave's on.
Looking for it. The Sigil's on. It's not going to be enough. Dragon secured. Wendell going low. Looks for the Solar Flare. The Curtain Call comes down. But Astralis, they're just got enough health. This is not going to hurt them, as Wendell will eat that 4th shot and go pretty low. But Carlson gets the Blast Cone over the wall. Now they get a little Bronc chains off onto Chrisberg, but they have to get broken as the Wind Slash doesn't even clip anybody on the side of Astralis. NYYRIKKI, they did a bit of damage, but they didn't really gain anything else. They lost the dragon.
Yeah, lost the Dragon NYYRIKKI. Astralis picking that one up. That's big. It just buys them an extra 5 minutes of time to just sit here, scale, get to their core items, and then eventually do what this composition will do best. Team fight, burst, siege. Be impossible to peel onto or get onto just because of the peel. Once those carries are up, it's going to be very, very difficult for NYYRIKKI to find consistent backline access, because there's no true hard engage on this composition. It is very much a bit of a dive, try and find a single target. Ziggs can execute that tower if he has to, but I mean, it's pretty much an all away from death. It's actually either way. That's another tower going in Astralis' favor. And NYYRIKKI, again, feel like a broken record. Not really finding much when there's no objectives.
Poked out as well here pretty heavily.
Yeah, it just feels like a slow
It does.
chokeout from
It kind
Astralis.
of goes back to what we actually had quite a lot of at the beginning of last split. Or was it spring? I can't remember. We had a split last year where there was a lot of slow chokeouts,
sure it
and
was
it feels like Astralis has done that. NYYRIKKI picked some interesting champions. You know, you got the LeBlanc, you got the Riven, they're fun champs. They need to get ahead early though. If LeBlanc doesn't get ahead early, feels pretty redundant. Same for the Riven, and unfortunately they've not really been able to achieve too much. Sure, there's a 30 CS lead on the LeBlanc, but that isn't going to win you the game, unfortunately.
Yeah, you know, like, I will say, I think LeBlanc scales better than most people give her credit for.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just going to be pretty tough, in my opinion, to play into
I
this
agree
game.
with you in most cases, but your versus a Corki, who just scales. He just flat scales, right?
Like, you distortion in, right, as LeBlanc, and then Corki rocket autos you and you lose half your HP. And it's just like, well... and Corki has a lot more life still than LeBlanc does, so it's tough. Looking for Chrisberg here. That's the kind of stuff he has to do, but when you can get flanked like this, very dangerous. Yeah. Flash
Able to force the flash out, though. But again, then the pace slows down. They both looked for a little something, weren't able to find it. Take the foot off the gas at the moment. Carlson needs to be careful because he's been jumped onto. The rest of the team were thinking about setting up for the Baron, but rotated back over. And their Renekton was in a little bit of hurt.
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, Astralis doing what they have to win this game. They know if they allow NYYRIKKI to kind of play this obvious chaos style that they're looking to play, the Wendelbow.
Oh, hold on. Wendell in trouble. Actually gets bopped back to safety.
Kick actually saves him in the end.
That's going to be it.
Flash. Yeah, it's going to be it. I mean, Astralis, they just sit here, they do this for another 5 to 10 minutes, they get their iron spikes, and they just say, hey, all right, cool, we're ready to fight, guys. And Lee Sin, LeBlanc, Riven as well, kind of just sat there twiddling their thumbs. They don't really get to play the game versus this composition, it feels like. Once we hit a certain point, 5v5ing will just be impossible. NYYRIKKI will have to try and divert to another plan, 1-3-1, 1-4, trying to play 4 Gambit.
Oh my word. One more rocket is all it's going to be. Got that big one charged up, but isn't able to do it. No! Don't look at the shop! Woo!
Don't open the shop. Oh,
Don't
very
open
close.
the shop.
Very, very close call from Hero there. But,
You can see
does walk
Shadow
out
Flame is
alive.
in the build here.
Yes.
I think that's quite nice because you're looking at Shield Bow, you're looking at Sterix, it will give you that pen versus those shields, so it does help you just burst through those a little bit quicker. I mean, TLDR, if you don't know what Shadow Flame is, it's Serpent's Fang for mages or any AP user.
Pretty much. Definitely a very strong item when you are against a lot of shields, which League of Legends these days, it has a lot of shields. There are a lot of items that give it a lot of champions just have it innately in their kit. It is just the way it is. 30 seconds on this Ocean Dragon now, and you feel, looking at the inventories, Astralis are ready to scrap. They've got 2 stopwatches on the top side between Taxa and Carlson. Not only that, their item spikes are pretty much there across the board for their 2 carries. So, NYYRIKKI, I won't say this is last chance to Loom, but this will be the last chance I feel like you'll get close to an even fight. And if you lose out on this one, life just gets harder and harder, and they are being forced out of the river. As actually
that was really nice change there, forcing Crest to have to drop the package to safety. The Dragon's up, and NYYRIKKI, they need to try and force a little bit more than just the package now. That Dragon is being bursted through. The curtain has been called, and it's going to start to rain in onto these members. They jump forward to the hook, unable to find it. Look at the Tazri on that flank. Might be able to find himself a quick kick off to the side. Is now being zoned away by Crest, and Chrisberg able to get himself a kill onto the Fresh. Tazri going very, very low, and Crest with a big one. He's able to do a fair amount of damage. Carlson not going to jump over the wall yet. Wind Slash hasn't been thrown out. That might be the moment. No, it's not. Dragon number 2. Alice.
Yeah, you can definitely applaud the attempt, but not quite there from Toshka. And that second Dragon now, and even footing on that front, puts everybody 2 dragons away from that Ocean Soul. And now NYYRIKKI, they have to do stuff like this. Play towards your sides. Try and force these uneven sort of side lane split push kills.
Nice key strike there, just to lock down for a moment, but Crest was able to survive thanks to the shield bow. And it looks like Astralis have got the flankers. In comes Wendell. The satchel will run interrupt. Which is the real Laura Bonk? They've caught it. And that is going to be the end. Carlson finds the kill. The second kill of the game for Astralis. 27 minutes into the game with 3 kills. It has been a slow burner, but the Mega Inferno Bomb will zone away the members of NYYRIKKI, and the tower will go down. Only 1 tower remains for NYYRIKKI, and that is in the top lane. Outside of the base.
Top tier 2,
asterisk.
outside of the base. Yeah, don't worry, I got you. Asterisk, a lot of asterisks in that statement, Jake is fine. Early teleport comes in here, of course, from Carlson to defend his mid laner. And it is simply enough. Gives enough time. Nice effort again from Toshka, but I mean, unfortunately, the Valkyrie is still off cooldown for Crest, so uses it to get away, and then Wendelbow finds his mark. I think actually picks out because the clone wasn't affected by Leandri, so able to distinctly tell which one was which. Gets that stun in. Find the pick on the bottom side. Now they can send their attention to this final tier 2, and then maybe divert towards the Baron.
It's like a contest over a blue buff is coming in. Carlson's able to shove in this top side. Crest making his way over to join the rest of the team. Doesn't have that package, and here comes Chrisberg as well as they find themselves the lockdown. The solar flares in. There's the bomb as well, but the invisibility from LeBlanc will be able to give a bit of safety to get away from this one. But the curtain has been cooled. It's just going to look for a bit of pokers. In comes the massive Riven key strike, locking the whole team down. But Astralis are just too tanky, and members are falling left, right, and center. Astralis are picking up everything. That's kill number 3.
Astralis just here for business. At the end of the day, they played this one out slowly, methodically, meticulously, and it's finally going to culminate into this Baron takedown. They really choked out NYYRIKKI. It's been a complete juxtaposed style of play to what we've seen throughout the rest of the NLC today. But Astralis, like I said, here for business. You don't want NYYRIKKI to even have a foothold in this one. NYYRIKKI, they came in with a plan. With this LeBlanc, with this Lee Sin, with this Riven. I think the draft, the responses from Astralis, very, very strong. And not only that, gameplay, just being able to stop the Finnish side from actually finding any ends was just spectacular play from them all around. And NYYRIKKI now in the deep end, you have to say, for their first game in the NLC. Playing against Astralis is always going to be a hard task, but Baron buff, 6,000 gold. It's looking a little bit done, but maybe they have something left in the tank. We saw a pretty good flank there from Patoshka. If it's followed up by something, then maybe, but there's just no great AoE follow-up.
In exactly the same place. There's no backup this time, so you're going to be fine. But Wendell starting to find these Zenith Blades as that is the final tower outside of the base. Going down as Astralis are going to look to use this Baron to siege up even more. And this is what we're hitting on. The lack of wave clear that NYYRIKKI are going to be working with. And with Wendell and Taxa zoning anybody from finding a good flank angle, Cress and Chrisberg are free to shove this wave up. You need to be a little careful because the rest of the team aren't quite close enough to fully back them up. But wow, that's a lot of damage from the bomb. And a little bit more damage. A short fuse from Chrisberg onto that tower could result in this tower going down. They're going to work their way up, and top lane inhibitor tower will fall very fast. And the lack of wave clear is really starting to bite NYYRIKKI in the bum now.
Yep, that it is. Weren't able to use the power of their champions early on, and now, fortunately,
that was a hero minion.
find them in the backside. Astralis, a lot of siege, a lot of wave clear. Hero almost
the bomb
dies.
forces the flash. The wind slash is used. Here comes the curtain call. Cress has to flash out as well to make sure he's okay. The tower will fall in the meanwhile as Chrisberg gets jumped onto. The insect comes down into the deadly flash, into the hook. They've got the CC. The satchel won't save the day, and they find the kill onto Riven. That's going to be the first one there. Astralis do bleed out a little bit, but they took down another inhibitor tower.
Yeah, that's the crucial thing. They've broken open the base. The cleanse is a little bit early. Still finds the lantern.
They do find themselves a good hook, but again, the Riven's on the flank, and they're looking for the turnaround, but here comes Carlson. Waiting for the opportunity to get close. The package is onto Cress as well. Wendell doing a good job of just zoning away a couple of the scarier members right now. There's the package, drop down, as the Tor forced to flash away. Taxa will look to finish him up, has the Heartbreaker ready to throw down if needs be. Gonna steal the form, and now there's a deadly flourish he can use. Not gonna hit it. And it's towards the Dragon Astralis will go.
It started in the top side of NYYRIKKI's base, and it's ended somehow at the Ocean Dragon. Pretty extended sort of skirmish set of fights here. Astralis should be able to pick this one up. Patoshka, Eero, they're still here on the side, trying to see if they could find something. Distortion plus Wind Slash, maybe. Maybe is the hope and dream. Well, I think Astralis are onto it. They're onto it, they know.
I mean, the Wind Slash is going to time out.
Yeah, I mean, it's timed out.
Oh, it is, it's gone.
There you go. So, great patience, again, like the rest of this game, as, Eero.
Oh my!
And Patoshka?
I think they're in trouble.
Squeaky bum time. Squeaky bum time.
Is there it is? Oh.
Okay. If he
That was the squeaky bum time.
If he had another Valk, he would have definitely killed them both. Or, well, at the very least, the LeBlanc. Riven has flash. Whew. Very, very close. But Astralis, I mean, it's by the book League of Legends right now. It's textbook League of Legends. They come into the game, they've recognized what the win conditions were for NYYRIKKI, and they've denied them. And I feel like sometimes teams actually undervalue that. A lot of teams will tunnel vision on their own win conditions, right? As Astralis, if you're a air quotes weaker team, maybe you play towards your own win conditions, which are, you know, funneling gold into Corki, allowing Chris Berg on this Ziggs maybe to just sort of free from the bottom side whilst you roam towards the top side and impact that volatile matchup. Instead of doing that, they've actually just said, okay, let's just shut down everything NYYRIKKI are trying to do through their draft, and by doing that, naturally we'll just hit our own win conditions regardless. And that's what they've done here. And it's really just made NYYRIKKI almost look a little bit clueless because they don't really have much that they can do. And it's not really their own fault. It's more to the credit of Astralis playing a very fantastic game of League of Legends.
Absolutely. And they're going to continue the siege here. Not going to be able to find too much more than a little bit of poke. But NYYRIKKI have got a flank. Or at least a slight flank angle. Wendell is blocking off one of the exits in. A couple of auto attacks. That tower will go down, but the actual time chimed out. So Wendell's going to jump in, hook onto the cannon minion. Wendell actually may just lose his life as he just get able to find the kill. And here comes the curtain call. Carlson trying to make a runaway. Fourth shot. Going to hit onto Taxes. Does a little bit of damage. Is fun, nice little hook there, but oh no! That's the end of Ribbon. Here's the bomb. Here's the tidy up. Astralis just pulling the trigger. Crest finds a double kill, and Astralis have nowhere to go. All of their inhibitor towers have been taken. The inhibitors are open, and it's a triple kill for Crest. The kick isn't even close enough. The satchel not going to take the tower, but they don't even need it. Azzator not going to be able to do too much here. Carlson's got the Guardian Angel, feeling comfortable. Crest with the unofficial triple kill, or quadra kill, will lose his life. But down goes the Nexus, as Astralis just chokes NYYRIKKI out of this game.
Yes, Lochuk, I think if you had to describe this game in one word from Astralis, surgical would probably fit best there, because just by the book, every single moment it just felt like NYYRIKKI, even in moments where, you know, they found trade kills and these small little skirmishes here and there, it was always still Astralis' favorite. It never really felt like there was a moment where NYYRIKKI had an opportunity to actually play their game. And again, I think it's just, you know, maybe a bit of a difference in experience between the two rosters. And it's why Astralis obviously have built this roster together, and they've got Carlson on the top side, who is the inexperienced member, but obviously, at least judging from this game, very clearly of holding, very capable of holding his own. NYYRIKKI just had nothing to do after the 15-minute mark once they couldn't get the snowball rolling in their solo lanes.
I think today we've already had a couple of expectations shattered. Not really shattered, but, you know, disproven. And then a couple of expectations looked at in a different way. It was like, actually, maybe they're not as bad as we thought. Maybe they're not as strong as they thought. I think Astralis is definitely as strong as we thought. That was, like you said, very surgical from them. But that is going to be it for that game. We're going to throw to a break. And when we're back, we'll hear from the analyst desk. We'll see you in a moment.